So were you
Okay.
praying regularly at that point, or
Mm,
just like in your times of need?
so God and I had a pretty good relationship, but it wasn't the Bible God, although it had tinges of the Bible God.
Right.
Okay, because of my drugs, and I think I previewed the Bible once or twice in my life.
Right.
And I did a lot of mushrooms, and I always went, well, these stories are somebody got wasted on mushrooms and wrote a good story, right?
Right.
So I had a real hard time believing that stuff.
Right.
So I get here, I'm able to help my mom into an exercise routine. We're walking every day.
Right.
I'm applying for a job after a month, I think. Again, having a hard time connecting with this guy for a job. So I go to a Monday night AA meeting. He calls me the next day, and my mom tells him, well, he's still sleeping. He was out late to a meeting last night. This guy goes, oh, well, when he gets up, send him over here, right? And I go to the address. He's doing a roof. He's up on the roof, and he looks down at me and he goes, oh, you a friend of Bill's? And that's code for, are you in AA?
Oh, I
And I'm
see.
like looking at him going, well, I knew a Bill when I was here. I didn't even know the code at that time because
Okay,
I was only in AA a short time.
I see.
And
And sorry,
so
who was this gentleman that had called you?
my first boss
Oh, okay.
in Ottawa area here.
Okay, I see,
So
I see.
carpenter, uh, carpentry was the job I always wanted as a child, but because I got kicked out of home, ended up being a cook. Alcohol facilitated cooking.
Right,
Cooking facilitated alcohol.
right.
Never got to fulfill my dream of being a carpenter.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, wild the way the Lord was
Yeah,
working for me in those
yeah.
days. Yeah,
Especially as a carpenter too, because with the biblical connection.
amen, amen. Like I felt so honored to finally get to be a carpenter. We're building, me and this guy, we were building an addition on a church when 9/11 happened. And he's after me every day to go to Alpha. I don't know if you ever heard of Alpha.
No.
Excellent teachings. If you want to become a Christian, find an Alpha course. It teaches you about the Bible, it teaches you about what Christianity really is. Excellent, excellent teachings. And there's the love of Christ shown there too. All right. So he's trying to get me to go to that course. I'm like, Bill, you got your idea, God. I'm happy with mine. Let's leave it at that. We'll do this work together and we'll be happy.
Right.
All right.
So you didn't want to hear anything about Jesus at that
Nah, I
point.
still had prejudice.
I see.
I didn't know it, but
Right.
I was still resentful towards that God.
Right.
So I go home one day from building this addition, and my mom starts talking to me, and she just goes. And I stop her at the end, and I look at her and I go, Mom, where'd you learn all that? She's like, all what? I'm like, all that you just said to me. Well, that's stuff I took from the Bible. And boom, the light comes on, right? Okay, so AA taught me to get rid of your prejudice and be honest. All right. And prejudice, a good old 40-year guy taught me the real meaning of prejudice. Prejudge. All right. From the Latin, it's based in that. So when he taught me that, I went, at first I'm like, I'm not prejudiced. I like anybody, any race. I don't care. If they're goof, they're goof.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
not prejudiced.
Right. Right.
And those are jail words. Like if you called somebody a goof in jail, it was fight.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that I lived by that. I did a couple little short stints in jail, both for drugs. Yeah. So
But she was quoting the Bible and it
she,
resonated with you.
it It sounded like it came right out of the big book.
Oh,
Exactly what she said. And then I connected the big book to the Bible, and I also connected, I've been prejudging Christianity.
right,
All right. Just like everybody in the world today,
right,
they prejudge it because everybody, I developed my own perception of what Christianity was based on my terrible past with dealing with them.
right,
Okay. The guy that made me listen to a crappy sermon for a watery soup.
right,
It
right.
gave me a terrible look on Christianity. Not to mention my mother's role in the abuse and whatnot. Not that she abused me, but she was a Christian. She didn't take us out of that home.
And so, just for that whole soup thing, we were talking about that before. Can you just tell everybody what that was like? You had
So I was living on the streets in Vancouver and destitute sometimes. So starving sometimes because you'd get $6 a day and these cards that you could redeem for next to nothing. And at the end of the day, if you were really, really hungry, you could go to this lineup and you'd get a bowl of soup, but they'd put you into the church and make you listen to a sermon before they'd give you the soup. And it was really watery soup. And like you're starving, and this guy is preaching at you. And I was just so resentful of that we had to listen to this guy while our guts are just trying to eat their way out of us.
yeah.
It's like,
So
so
again, the connection with Christianity was this negative
yeah,
thing.
I developed my own perception of
Hmm.
what Christianity was, and none of it was good.
Hmm.
It was all hypocrisy. It was all only what I thought of it. I never even thought that, hey, I've got to go and figure this out before I judge it. Right?
Right.